Hi everyone, it's Ben from Trekitt and we're out here on Hargis Ridge today. We're going to go on a little walk and we're going to talk about the Montane antifreeze family from Montane, funnily enough. So we'll go on a little walk, it's about 4 miles long. We'll show you the route at some point. Harry will cut in some footage there to show you roughly where we're going. And we're going to talk about the jackets and just basically wander around, walk you through the process of the differences between these jackets, because you might have noticed I am actually wearing quite a few different variations of jacket and gilet from Montane. So right now I am really warm because these are insulated down jackets. We'll walk through the jackets, the differences between them all, which we'll go into a little bit more depth about, but essentially there is a big warm one, a hooded one, a jacket and a gilet within their range that all offer slightly different features, which we will go into. But we'll talk about all of those as we go on our walk and just have a little play with them. But for right now, I'm going to take most of these off because they are really warm. So we're about a mile into our walk now, just over, and we're just coming up on a big collection of monkey puzzle trees that we're not entirely sure why they're here. So any Kington locals, if you let us know in the comments as to why they're here, because we don't really know. But we're going to stop here for a little break, have a cup of tea, nice cup of tea, Harry, and we're going to talk about the differences between the various models. So fortunately, there was a nice little bench here. It's a little bit soggy, but I can pop my bag down, have a cup of tea, and stay clear of these monkey puzzles in this down gilet that I've got on. So they're really small, or we're a lot bigger than I remember. Before we go into a little bit more depth about what the antifreeze family is and the different models, we'll mention what the actual models are. As I alluded to earlier when I was wearing all 4 of them, I did take them off for the walk because it would have been a bit too toasty. We stock 4 different versions in the men's and 3 in the women's. Essentially, we have the gilet, which, being a gilet, has no arms, so it's got no sleeves. Harry's now going to do some sort of camera trickery transition so that I'm then in the next jacket, maybe an explosion or something, who knows. We're now in the jacket. So this is the difference between the men's and women's range here, apart from obviously female-specific fits versus male fits. The women's we don't stock in a hoodless. So the jacket obviously has sleeves, where the gilet did not, and we have no hood, so you've got a standing collar here. Next up, we have, again, both in men's and women's, like the gilet, we have the antifreeze hoodie, which, unlike the jacket, has a hood. This one is in a rather fetching orange colour that brings out the ginger in my face. And finally, in the range of antifreeze jackets, top half, you have the antifreeze XT, which is essentially the big brother of the range. It's got more down in it, so it is warmer. It is also a slightly bigger fit. There are a few other differences that we'll go into and we discuss the range in a little bit more depth, but essentially this has all of the features. It has sleeves, it has a hood, it has more down, bigger fit, and it's just more warm. So we progressed a little bit further onto our walk, but we stopped here to talk about the fabric that all of these items are made from. So Montane have kept things really simple here because they've used the same outer and inner fabric on all of their products in the antifreeze range, at least in their jackets, gilets collection. So keeps things nice and simple. So for this, I'm wearing the XT just because we're static. It's very windy. This is the warmer jacket, so I'm nice and toasty. But essentially on all their pieces, Montane use a recycled Pertex Quantum Eco outer fabric, which is just an outer fabric that just kind of works. You know, it's used across the outdoor industry because it's lightweight, it's durable for its weight, and it is both, the fabric itself is windproof and sort of highly water resistant. And then on the inner of all of these pieces, Montane use a Peak Eco down inner fabric, or is it down eco? I always get them confused the wrong way around. But that inner lining is a little bit softer, so it's more comfortable next to skin if you are wearing, say, the jacket or the hoodie next to sort of a short sleeve base layer. But it's the same across the range. So it's more comfortable next to skin, and it also acts as a bit of a better barrier against down migration. So if down finds its way through any of the seams, things like that, it helps prevent that because it's a little bit more of a downproof fabric. That is also a recycled fabric as well, so it keeps things nice and eco on that front. One thing to also mention is that all of these pieces have a DWR, a durable water resistant, durable water repellent coating, which helps repel moisture, water from the outside of the jacket. It doesn't mean by any means that any of these are waterproof, but it will just mean that they'll stand up to a light rain shower and just be a little bit overall more weather resistant. So we can demonstrate that here just by pouring a little bit on, and it will bead and roll off the surface, leaving the jacket dry. But if you're out for an extended period in adverse conditions, you'll want to put a shell over the top just to stay dry. So obviously the main thing that you actually want to know is about the insulation inside all these jackets, because they are all down insulated jackets. Montane use the same down, so it's all 750 fill power hyper dry down, which is RDS certified. They just use different amounts in each of the jackets. So the XT that I'm wearing here has got 210 grams, so that's quite a large amount of down in this, which also means it's the puffiest, it's got the most insulation, it's going to be the warmest. The hoodie, the antifreeze hoodie, has 140 grams. The jacket that Harry's got on behind camera now, and he's concentrating very hard on not falling over, has 125 grams, and then the gilet has 100 grams. So 750 fill power refers to the sort of loftiness, the fluffiest of the down, and 750 is fairly high. We do have jackets that go right up to 1,000 fill power and items that go right up to that 1,000, but 750 fill is a nice balance with warmth to weight. So Montane have got the balance quite nicely there, and the XT is nice and toasty, which is why I've got it on as we're stood out here on this very windy day. We're a little bit further on a walk now, and we've dropped down a little bit below the ridge line, so we're out of the wind a little bit more, so it's a lot nicer. As a consequence, I'm probably going to be swapping back out of the antifreeze XT in a minute, so you might see me in the next shot in a different jacket, just because this is now getting a little bit toasty, because that wind is not whipping away as much heat. When it comes to the features of the antifreeze range, a lot of them share very similar features, being in the same family. So we'll go over features that all of them have to begin with, and then we'll mention a few key differences, mainly with the gilet and the XT, because those guys are at the sort of extreme ends of the spectrum when it comes to the feature set differences because of their end use. So features that they all have an elasticated adjustable draw cord on them, so you can cinch in at the bottom. You also have 2 zipped hand pockets on all of them, which are insulated in the front, so they sit behind the baffles, so you can keep your hands nice and toasty. Apart from the gilet, they all also have an internal zipped pocket as well, which is really useful for a phone, GPS, something that you want to keep a little bit warmer, closer to body, and also a little bit more secure. One other feature that all of the jackets, but for obvious reasons the vest doesn't share, but all of the jackets have, are they have elasticated cuffs. So it keeps things super simple, and the elastication is rolled over so that it seals in nicely over gloves or anything like that if you were to wear gloves, but it seals nicely around the wrist, so it's nice and comfortable, seals in more of the heat. Other features on the hoodie specifically, funnily enough, it has a hood. And this hood, I'm going to take my sunnies off before I knock them. So the hood on this guy is very much a head compatible hood. So once I zip this up a little bit more, the mic's going to get in the way there, so I can't quite zip up all the way. But this hood sits nicely over a hat like I've got on now, or would sit nicely over a beanie or equally over your head. And you do have inline adjusters on this somewhere. Stop fumbling, Ben. But there are adjusters here and toggles down here somewhere. Harry's not going to help me and point out where they are.
Here, there's like sticking out way.
They're here, that's where they are. They're behind the microphone. I told you the microphone would get in the way. So let me unzip that. There you go. There they are on the inside. And you've also got a nice fleecy chin guard as well, so it's nice and comfortable. So this hood sits nice and comfortably next to your head, keeps you nice and warm. That's something that the jacket doesn't have, because it just has a standing collar instead, but otherwise the jacket and the hoodie feature set is exactly the same, you just lose that hood. One thing that all of the antifreeze range does have, included that they've conveniently tied in on this at the moment, but you would normally leave that untied, is a stuff sack. So that gives you an idea. The wind's being rather helpful there to show you roughly what size this jacket packs down to. So all of these will stuff down into their stuff sacks, which is kept in a pocket somewhere. We don't recommend storing them in them long term, because you will affect the down's ability to loft. It will take longer for it to loft and fluff back up, and it's the loft of the down that actually insulates you, keeps you warm by trapping your body heat in it. But a stuff sack for popping in a rucksack or anything like that, if you're traveling with it, or you just need it to be a little more compact, is a great option. So the fact that Montane include them in all of them is a fantastic feature. So along with the other features that we've already mentioned, the antifreeze XT goes beyond that with a few additional features that are more in line with its intended end use as sort of a heavier weight insulator, potentially as a belay piece. So in that regard, this guy, unlike the others, has a two-way zip. So you've got a two-way zip, which means that you can more easily throw it on over the top of everything else and use it while you're belaying, so you've still got access to your harness underneath, or potentially you can use it to answer the call of nature, things like that. But a two-way zip on a jacket that's designed for slightly more extended use, happens to be what XT sort of stands for, that feature helps. You do also have, and this is where I was getting confused before with the normal antifreeze hood, is on this guy's hood. First off, it's helmet compatible, unlike the other one, so it is considerably bigger volume, but we've got a bigger hood here, which the wind again is taking off there. But you have 3-point adjustment, so you've got these guys here, got little buttons here, and unlike the other one, the toggles are then on the outside, so it's going to be easier to grab with gloves and adjust there. And you do also on the back have a volume adjuster here, so you can cinch out volume that way as well. So that means that you can cinch this down over a helmet, but you can also make it head compatible.
What manner of thing occurred here?
Apparently I don't know how to dress myself, so I've tried to put the sleeve in the wrong way. So we're coming towards the end of our walk now. We've still got about half a mile or so to go, but now will be a really good opportunity to talk about the fit of these jackets. So the gilet, the jacket and the hoodie all have the same fit. So for reference, as I'm sure you will know by now if you've seen any of the other videos where I'm presenting, I'm 6'3" with a 44 inch chest, and I normally wear a size large, which is what I'm wearing today, and they fit comfortably that I could get a lightweight fleece layer or something on top of the base layer I've got on underneath and still be comfortable without compressing the down. So these are all size large. Sleeve length, everything, if I'm being honest, for myself is probably a little bit on the short side, but I have ridiculously long arms, so it's nothing to worry about there. They're also comfortable in terms of body length, but they are all size large and they fit comfortably, fit nice and warm. There is one exception in the antifreeze range that does fit differently, and that is the jacket that Harry is going to throw at me now. So the antifreeze XT, being designed for slightly extended use and also for belay use, as alluded to before, is a slightly bigger fit. So this probably isn't an ideal use case to chuck it over another down jacket, although not completely unheard of. But the XT is a more generous fit. So this is also a large. If I can get this guy straight over, if I can get the zip lined up, which I can, straight over the top of the antifreeze jacket underneath, and fits and feels comfortable over the top of that. I'm not compressing the down. It's now a nice fit. So you'd wear this as an outer layer over the top of sort of a heavier weight mid layer, something like that, or when you really want a little bit more insulation. I think the sleeves are also slightly longer on this. So a bit longer in the body because it's a bit longer than the other one, which I can show you underneath, and slightly longer in the sleeves. So overall fit wise, most of them fit exactly the same. The XT is a little bit more generous, so depending on where you're going to wear it, you might find you can size down from your normal size. Which was the entire aim of this walk. That about wraps up our inside look into the Montane antifreeze range. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about them in writing or just to explore the collection, Harry will pop a link up on screen. And all I can think about is the coffee and cake in front of me. So I'm going to sign off and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.